So, in an earlier video, we showed how to add checklist data to the checklist library in 2 ways, and also how to edit or delete a checklist. This video will show 2 significantly improved methods to load data into the CMMS. Both methods will demonstrate how to add checklist data for one or hundreds of equipment. In the first method, we will copy and paste data for multiple equipment, and in the second method, we will use the data entry wizard. So, let's get started. Method number 1, the copy and paste method. This method allows you to add all checklist data for all the equipment at your facility using 2 steps. Step 1, copy and paste the checklist names. Step 2, copy and paste the checklist details. For this method, we will use the Excel workbook supplied with your downloaded CMMS files. All downloaded files are stored in a folder on your computer. This folder was created during the installation of the CMMS. To locate the folder, go to the main control panel of the CMMS and select Admin Settings. On the bottom left of the page is the Quick Links menu. Select Show Downloaded Files to open the folder. Open the Excel workbook, Data Entry Workbook Empty, R6. If you do not have the R6 revision of this workbook, download it from the link in the description and save it in the CMMS download folder. Next, open the Excel workbook and select Worksheet number 5. This worksheet is where you add the checklist names. For this exercise, we have already added 9 checklist names to the worksheet as shown. Copy the 9 checklist names. Once done, return to the CMMS and select Related Files. Now, select Checklist to open the checklist library. On the left of the page, highlight the last row of the checklist names form. Next, paste the data. Press Yes when prompted to save the data. We have now completed step 1 of the process, so let's move on to step 2, which is to add the checklist details for the 9 equipment. Return to the Excel workbook and select worksheet number 10. This is where you should add the checklist data. Note that for this exercise, we have already added data to the worksheet for the 9 checklists. Highlight and copy all the checklist data. Once this is done, return to the CMMS. Now pay close attention to the next steps. At the top of the checklist library page, select the Multiple Checklist Form icon. Next, scroll to the bottom of the list and highlight the last row. Once done, paste the data. Press Yes when prompted to save the data. Next, return to the checklist library page and verify that the data has been added successfully. To do this, select a checklist name from the form on the left, then verify that the data displayed on the form on the right is correct. This completes the third method to add checklist data to the CMMS. Please note that this method is suitable for copying checklist data for hundreds of pieces of equipment. You may also replicate these steps to continually add to the checklist library. Now for the final method, we will use the Data Importation Wizard to add checklist data to the CMMS. Note that the Data Importation Wizard takes data from an Excel worksheet and loads it into the CMMS. In the previous example, we added checklist data to the workbook, Data Entry Workbook Empty R6. This workbook is formatted to work with the wizard. During the importation process, the wizard will automatically import the checklist names and the checklist details in the correct order. Now, in the previous exercise, we used the copy and paste method to move data from the Excel workbook into the CMMS. For this exercise, we will use the wizard to move the same data from the Excel workbook into the CMMS. So, return to the main control panel and select Admin Settings. Select the Data Entry Wizard icon at the top of the form. For a detailed introduction to the Data Entry Wizard, see the link in the description. After the wizard opens, select the Checklist Names option on the right of the form to open the checklist library. Note that the library is empty, but this was done only for the purpose of this demonstration. Typically, the library would contain previously added data. Now, press Return to display the wizard. On the left side of the form, double-click on option number 5. This action instructs the wizard to import checklist data from an Excel workbook. Click Yes to continue, then browse to the location of the folder that contains the Excel workbook. Note that the default location of the workbook is the Download folder. Double-click the Excel workbook to immediately begin moving the data into the CMMS. Once done, click Yes to open the checklist library to view the newly imported data. If any errors are generated during the importation process, the wizard will create an error report. If errors are found, correct the errors, and repeat the process. This concludes our discussion on importing checklist data for multiple equipment into the CMMS. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, or leave a comment for more help videos.